Hey, I got another Rams Up update here for you. Going to go through some news and notes, get into the injury report, the latest on the Colts Rams, and I'm going to have my Rams Up straight up picks for week 4. Week 3 was not good to me. Let's get into it. The first thing I wanted to talk about, Brandon Ayuk. Kyle Shanahan saying he is nowhere close to returning. That injury and the recovery, I guess, was a lot more serious than a lot of us understood, and no timeline for him returning. Not looking good for Brandon Ayuk. And I drafted him from my fantasy football team, stashed him away for future use, and maybe that was a mistake. Hey, I wanted to talk about this brilliant but silly idea. My special assistant forwarded this to me. Barstool Sports was talking about this little idea they had, something that will never happen, but it's actually pretty intriguing. Let's say there's a kick return. Let's picture Tavon Austin returning a kick, and he goes to the house, but you see a flag icon up there, and Tavon sees it. Everybody sees it. Should I celebrate? Should Tavon celebrate? What's going on? And it turns out it's on the defense, and now he starts to celebrate. Now, Barstool's idea was you have 2 different color flags, one for offense and one for defense. And I think this is especially important on kick returns and punt returns. So a different color flag, Tavon Austin, he's returning that kick, and he sees that, let's say, the green flag go up. The green flag icon, a green flag on the ground, and he knows it's on the defense. His return stands. And I thought that was pretty interesting. It'll never happen because, what would probably happen is referees would start throwing the wrong color flag. It's too much for them to think about, I think. But it's kind of intriguing, and it is a bummer. But there's something to be said about the excitement of, in a really big play, and you see that icon up there, and when the referee reveals who it's on, that is, in a weird way, kind of exciting. I wanted to talk about point differentials because they can tell you a lot more about what's going on than wins, losses. And number 1 in point differential after 3 weeks, the Indianapolis Colts plus 47. Pretty impressive. Granted, they've had a pretty weak schedule, but still, they are succeeding on the scoreboard regardless of who they play. Number 2, going into the Thursday night game, Seahawks plus 41, and third, the Bills plus 31. So those are the top 3. 2 of them will be on our schedule here, and the Colts Sunday. We'll see if we can reduce that point differential number for them. And by the way, the NFC West is the only division where every team has a positive point differential. I'm going to share some Rams Colts data that you should know. The Colts have scored on 77% of possessions. That league average is 40%. So their offense is, as Ian was talking about, super efficient, and they get it into the end zone. The Rams have converted 46% of their third and longs, best in the NFL. Not as good on when it gets greater than 10 yards, but still succeeding on third and long, and that's a really good sign for this offense, obviously. Offenses may win the day, but in this game, talking about the Colts Rams, I think the offenses are going to win the day. I think both these teams are going to be able to plug away and get into the end zone. But I also think it's going to be both offenses are going to shorten the game. There's not going to be as many possessions as is typical. And for that reason, I think there's going to be a lot of success for the offenses. But I think the over-under, I think we're going to come in under the 49.5. I think primarily because these teams, especially the Colts, are just going to burn up a lot of clock. And another thing I wanted to talk about, Ian was talking about the lack of other receivers not getting targets in this Rams offense. And I had talked about how I was really excited about how they mixed it up. And I think I was a little surprised by the numbers he provided, and he was spot on. I think what I'm seeing with my eyes is a lot of different types of plays but still, especially in the run game, but maybe not getting the ball to a bunch of different guys. This year so far, through 3 games, Jordan Whittington, 5 targets, Tyler Higbee, 6, Davis Allen, 4, Tutu Atwell, just 3. And let's talk about Tutu Atwell here for a minute. Tutu had 62 targets last year, and that was when he was competing with Demarcus Robinson on this roster for 4 targets and snaps. He had no catches in last year's week 1 game, and the following 3 games, he had 11 catches for 223 yards. That's in weeks 2, 3, and 4, and that included the big 50-yarder against the 49ers. So Ian's right, and something's got to give. We can't continue like this. Hopefully, this is the week. We diversify the offense. I think we've been successful, but we need to get more guys involved. And by the way, Colby Parkinson, just 2 targets. Let's get into the injury report Thursday night. The Thursday injury report, the Rams, Big Rob and Devontae Adams did not practice. That's a little concerning, needless to say. And also when we consider that 2 other offensive linemen were limited, that's Steve Avila and Justin Dedich, the 2 guys that have played left guard for us. So a little scary. Colby Parkinson and Tyler Higbee, 2 tight ends, are limited. So, hey, you got to think Terrence Ferguson is getting a lot of reps out there, and Davis Allen, 2 guys that, well, Davis Allen is a good receiving tight end, and you would think Terrence Ferguson will be. Maybe this is the week. Both of them get involved a little bit more. And, Davis Allen, I don't know what else he has to prove. Matthew Stafford has to start looking his way more, and Terrence Ferguson just needs some darn snaps. But hopefully, they're just being cautious with Big Rob and Devontae, and hopefully Steve Avila gets spun up by Sunday. We really need those guys. The Colts injury report, they got some concerns too. Offensive guard Matt Goncalves it did not practice. 2 wide receivers, Pierce and Good, did not practice. Cornerback Kenny Moore, I'm pretty certain he's out for sure. And another defensive tackle, Stewart, did not practice. And limited tackle Smith and defensive lineman Buckner, DeForest Buckner, and that's the big one on their side. If Buckner can't go, that's a big loss for them. Hey, before we get to our Rams Up Straight Up picks, there are 10 teams that I have christened as done. Their seasons are over, and that number's not changing. Not ready to add anybody yet, although the Texans, man, maybe they should be on this list, but they got so much talent. I still think they could turn it around in that division, and the Rams beating the Colts would be a big assist to them, but they got to get some W's. But those 10 teams that are done, I got 5 in the NFC, 5 in the AFC, and I'm sorry, it's the truth. Your seasons are over. No going back. Start planning for next year. Those teams are the 0-3 Dolphins, Jets, and Titans, the 1-2 Raiders and Browns, and then in the NFC, we have the 0-3 Giants and Saints, and the 1-2 Cowboys, Bears, and Panthers. Although the Bears and Panthers, 2 really impressive wins, but I'm not buying it. Their seasons are over. Let's get to those Rams Up Straight Up picks for week 4. All right, let's get into my Rams Up Straight Up picks for week 4. Who do I have? Who am I picking? And man, last week was really, really bad with respect to Pete anyways. Now remember, last year I had him by 4 percentage points. And going into this week, I was looking really good. 9-7 though. I went 9-7 straight up. Pete went 13-3. So he picked up 4 games on me. He went from 2 behind me to 2 ahead. And I tell you, it's been a long, long time since I took a drubbing like that. Just every game we disagreed on pretty much went Pete's way. This week, well, before we get into that, I got to remind you, we are partnering up with MyBookie. Go to mybookie.website/join with Rams Up. Use promo code Rams Up. New users, use our promo code and up to $500 in bets is fully covered. And, I've been doing okay on my bets. I think I'm one game underwater right now, but overall, I'm hanging in there. The game I really like is actually this Rams Colts game coming in on the under. But hey, don't take my advice. Be that guy that finds that parlay, finds that money line bet, finds that underdog that's going to cover, and then you walk into work the next day and you say, I nailed it on my bookie. I used this promo code and I am the winner. I am the winner for the week. Winning your Rams will win. They'll come in on the under and you pocket some cash too. But hey, I'm not encouraging betting. But if you are going to, this deal with my bookie is pretty darn good. Let's get into my picks. Rams up straight up picks. I was leaning Cardinals, and then you know what? I was just like, I just got such a crappy feeling about this team, Kyler Murray. I thought their defense was going to get it turned around, and then James Conner, a player I really love, he's out, and the Seahawks are humming along after that close loss on opening day at home to the 49ers. So I'm rolling with the Seahawks. And the Vikings over the Steelers. When was the last time the Steelers and the Ravens just sucked at run defense? You just expect them to be really good on the defensive side, not this year. And, I'm not necessarily in love with the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy. And it is at home, Steelers at home. I have a feeling a lot of folks are going to be picking the Steelers, but I'll go with the Vikings. Commanders over the Falcons, a little bit of a train wreck developing there. I don't know the details, but I hear Penix is struggling, and he was a guy I had high hopes for. You know what? As I'm making this pick, I don't even know if Jaden Daniels is playing, but I did not like what I saw last week from the Falcons. And it's good for the Rams if this Falcons ship continues to sink. Remember, we have their pick. The Bills, is that the survivor pick of the week? If you haven't already picked the Bills, this would be a safe pick, I would think. Bills over the Saints, Bills at home. Lions, man, they just trounced the Ravens. Does that mean the Lions are back, or the Ravens are not the team we thought they were? Just running all over the place against the Ravens. So I think this is another great survivor pick. Although the Browns defense is dangerous. See what they did to Packers last week. The battle of the unwinnable teams, the Titans and the Texans. I really thought the Texans were going to do some damage this year. Both teams 0-3. The Titans, man, that talk about train wrecks. Who's going to be the first coach fired? I think we all know. But I'm taking the Texans in that one. Panthers at the Patriots. And, if you'd asked me a couple weeks ago, I would have taken the Patriots, the home team, Drake May, rising up the quarterback charts. And then the Panthers just steamrolled the Falcons last week. I'm taking the Panthers on the road. I'm sticking my neck out here, taking some road teams that a lot of folks probably aren't picking. Then you got the Chargers at the Giants. Don't be surprised if the Giants keep this game really close, but the Chargers, they're not your grandfather's Chargers. They are going to find a way to win this game, and they're not going to lose it with a kick clunking off the upright. Cameron Dicker, I read somewhere he's like the most accurate kicker in NFL history. I don't know what the metric is. I didn't read the article, but that one that got away, Cameron Dicker, remember we had him in camp that one year. And moving on, Eagles at the Bucks. This is the game of the week in my mind, and I'm taking the home team in this one. Am I just being salty about the Eagles? Yeah, maybe. Jags at the 49ers. I think the Jags will make it interesting, but the 49ers playing really good ball on the defensive side. Ricky Pearsall climbing up the receiver charts. And by the way, the top three receivers in the National Football League right now, all three in the NFC West. We got Puka, we got JSN, and we got Ricky Pearsall. I think Pearsall is actually number 2, JSN number 3. And two of those guys we'll be seeing soon enough. Then we have the Ravens at the Chiefs, and after what I saw, what the Lions did to the Ravens, I got to take the Chiefs to get to 2-2. Ravens, could they drop to 1-3? That's incredible. Maybe it's just not their year. Who's going to win that division? Bill Cowher calling that the toughest division in the league a few weeks ago. The Bengals 1-2, the Ravens 1-2, possibly dropping to 1-3. That division is up for grabs. It really is. And then you get the Bears at the Raiders, two teams that have had moments in the sun, shall we say, this season. I'm taking the visiting team in this one too. I think the Bears may have finally figured it out with Caleb Williams. That's my pick in that game. And their final four games, the Packers always destroy the Cowboys, and they will do it once again in Dallas. The Jets and the Dolphins, yuck. I guess I'll take the Dolphins in that one. The Broncos at the Bengals, the Joe Burrow-less Bengals, and the Broncos get things straightened up a little bit there. Probably one of the most disappointing teams so far this year, the Broncos, right? Up there with the Texans. And then we got our game, the Colts at the Rams, and I already showed my cards on that one in our Wednesday night keys to victory. I picked the Rams 23-20, and of course I'm sticking with that. Ian taking the Colts. Shame on you, Ian. But hey, he just has a foreboding thought about this game and about our kicking game especially. So that's his pick. But my pick is the Rams. Rams over the Colts to get to 3-1, and then we turn it around real quickly for the showdown with the 49ers with first place on the line. Rams 49ers Thursday night. But let's focus here, boys. Focus. Rams over the Colts on Sunday. That's it. That's all I got out here from Rams Up.